I spent a couple years learning how to fly Apache helicopters, and then went to a number of different places in the Army. And right before I deployed to Afghanistan in 2013 is actually when I got into the horse business. My mother had been doing it for about 15 years at that point, thoroughbred breeding and sales. From there, kind of got more and more involved over time, especially once I got out of the Army in 2017. I returned to Kentucky in 2020. This one is actually my 5th horse that I've bred. So you'll see, if you look on in the racing programs, you'll see Clifton Farm and then Derek Merkler. And so Clifton Farm is our operation, but when you see my name, it's a horse that I've actually had direct investment into.
So why did you decide to make him an Iowa-bred?
Well, I think going back to when we lived there, we have a lot of connections in Iowa, and the Breeders' Incentive Program is very strong for where we fit into the industry, the overall industry. So we send 3 or 4 horses a year up there to foal. And he was actually a mare that we had acquired at a very low price. She's a beautiful mare. The moment I saw her in person was after my mother Maureen had acquired her. I said, I want to go half in on this mare. So, but she at the time she didn't have much of a race record. She was she was completely unproven as a mare because this is her first foal. So we figured that we would foal her in Iowa and see what she could produce. But in the meantime, maybe if her first foal had a little bit of success up there, we could get some benefit from the Iowa Breeders' Incentive Program. And of course, we like to think beforehand that we know who's going to be the great horses and who aren't. And even as breeders, we don't really have an idea. So we have horses that we like as far as potential. We think have more potential than others, but we never really know for sure until they step out onto the track. So maybe if we had a crystal ball, we would have kept him as a Kentucky bred, but even up in Iowa, obviously it's been a great benefit, and who knows what would have happened if he had gone somewhere else.
But in your perspective, how big this horse is for Iowa's racing and breeding industry?
Well, I think the people who talk down about the Iowa program, this is a direct answer to that. So, I think if he continues to be successful, he represents Iowa as something that is a legitimate, has a legitimate racing industry, and can be a source of great horses that can leave Iowa and be successful in other places. And I think between him and Ain't Life Grand, right now he's here to kind of bring Iowa racing to other places in the country, and obviously starting off with the Breeders' Cup at Keeneland.